The son who forgot his mother. My people, listen closely, because what I am about to tell you is not just a story. It is a story of love, betrayal, sorrow, and the kind of heartbreak that stays with you forever. It is the story of Mama Nkechi, a poor widow from a small village in Enugu State, Nigeria, and her only son, Chike, a boy who one day forget the hands that raised him. Mama Nkechi was a woman of quiet strength. She was Igbo, in her late 50s, with deep brown skin that shone even in the dust of the village. Her hair was gray, but neatly braided into small, careful plaits. Her eyes, always tired, held a gentle warmth, the kind that could comfort even a restless child at night. She wore a simple wrapper, faded and patched from years of labor, but she carried herself with dignity, as if the sweat and pain of life could never take away her pride. Every morning, long before the sun had risen, she would wake up. Her bones ached from years of work, but she never complained. She would tie her wrapper tightly, wrap her small child on her back with an old cloth, and head to the farm. She worked in the hot sun, rain beating on her back, hands deep in the soil. She returned home with nothing for herself, but enough for Chike to eat and go to school. She often whispered under her breath, "If my son makes it in life, my suffering will be worth it." Chike was a bright boy, curious and kind-hearted. Even as a child, he noticed the sacrifices his mother made, and he loved her deeply. But as he grew, the world outside their small village started to whisper in his ears, whispering about city lights, wealth, success, and the prestige that came with it. By the time he was 25 years old, Chike had left the village. He found a job in Lagos, a big city that promised gold, but often gave only illusions. He dressed sharply, walked with confidence, and soon earned more money than Mama Nkechi could have imagined in her wildest dreams. He bought a car that shone like the sun, and moved into a luxurious apartment with a view of the city that stretched like a dream beneath him. But my people, money can make a heart heavy with pride, and pride can make even the kindest son forget the mother who fed him with her own hands. Calls from Mama Nkechi were unanswered. When she called, Chika would pick up, sighing as though her voice was an annoyance. "Mama, I'm busy. I'll call you back," he said once, but he never did. The old woman would sit at the corner of her small hut, staring at the phone, a sigh escaping her lips. Tears would fall, but she never stopped praying, never stopped hoping that her son would remember her love. One day, Mama Nkechi made a decision that would change everything. She sold her last piece of land, the only thing that had given her some dignity in the village, and tied a small nylon bag with a rope. Inside was a little money, a few clothes, and a heart full of hope. She would go to the city and see her son with her own eyes. The journey was long and tiring. Her feet blistered, her back ached, and her heart pounded with fear and anticipation. When she finally reached the high walls of Chike's apartment, she looked around in awe. Tall buildings loomed over her like giants, and cars roared past as if they were alive. But her fear was stronger than her awe. She approached the security gate, trembling, and said in a weak but hopeful voice, "I am Chike's mother. I came from the village." The security man, a tall young man with dark skin and a sneer, laughed. He called Chike on the phone. "Oga, one old woman says she be your mama." Chike's voice was cold, like ice on fire. "I don't know that woman. Send her away." My people, imagine the pain, the betrayal. Mama Nkechi, who had spent her whole life building a future for this son, was treated as a stranger in the city she had dreamed of seeing. She stood there, heartbreaking, legs weak, and the rain began to fall. The rain was relentless that night. It poured like the sky itself was crying for her. Mama Nkechi walked barefoot on the wet streets, her nylon bag barely protecting her from the storm. Tears mixed with the rain, washing her face but not her sorrow. She found a tiny roadside shade and sat down, shivering, her heart heavy with despair. A young girl selling roasted corn noticed her. She had never met this woman, Yet she treated her with kindness. She gave her some food, a small mat to rest on, and spoke to her with warmth and respect. In that moment, Mama Nkechi felt the same love she had always given her son, but from a stranger, because her own blood and flesh had abandoned her. Weeks passed. Mama Nkechi fell ill from the rain and cold nights, but her spirit remained unbroken. One morning, the news arrived for Chike, who was now living comfortably, surrounded by friends, laughter and money. A phone call came from the clinic. "Hello, is this Mr. Chike?" "Yes, who is this?" "Sorry sir, an old woman just died at St. Mary's Clinic. We found your number on a small paper in her wrapper." The world stood still for Chike. His hands trembled, and the money, the success, the pride, all became meaningless. He dropped the phone, heartbroken, and ran to the clinic, but it was too late. Mama Nkechi had passed, leaving behind only memories, prayers, and the sorrow of a life that gave everything but received nothing in return. When he went home to the village for the burial, the villagers refused to greet him. "You left your mother to die like a stranger," they said. He knelt beside her grave, crying like a child, realizing too late that the hands that wiped his tears deserved his care, that love cannot be bought with money, and that success means nothing if it leaves your mother crying. My people, hear me well. A child who forgets the sacrifices of a mother invites sorrow into his own soul. Wealth cannot wash away guilt. Pride cannot undo neglect. And no amount of success can replace the love of the woman who gave you life. Always remember, the hands that rocked your cradle deserve your respect. The tears she shed for you are treasures the world cannot repay. Do not let your wealth, your pride, or your busy life make you blind to the people who made you who you are. If you wept even a little while listening to this story, share it with someone today. Tag your friends. Call your mother. Tell her you love her. Because one day, it may be too late, and the regret will haunt you forever. Drop a comment below. Have you ever felt like Chike or Mama Nkechi? Share your thoughts. Share this story to remind others of the power of a mother's love. Like and subscribe for more emotional African stories that touch your heart.